Hello, Michael Augustine here again, Chapter 8, Listening Discussion Prompts. Okay, so very valuable information in Chapter 8. Kind of some themes that have come up in my relationship, talking about listening and the importance of it. So, do you think that you are a good listener? I do think so. My partner said I'm a good listener, but sometimes I don't hear well. And I think that's accurate. Sometimes I can be a little bit distracted, or there was the part about the external noise, which I'll talk about for number 3. But I think overall, I'm a good listener. But how often do you practice the elements of listening, attending, understanding, responding, and remembering? I try to do that every time I listen, but of course, fall short sometimes. Faulty listening behaviors. I talked about like pseudo listening, stage hogging, selective listening, insulated listening, defensive ambushing, insensitive. I think those were the faulty ones. Yeah, and or kind of the ways to listen badly or not in a true way. But asking here, when you or someone that demonstrated one of these behaviors, which of these behaviors do you feel you use the most often? So unfortunately, I think I probably have been guilty of this at some time, especially maybe pseudo listening at a time, like not really paying attention. But I try not to do these things. But yeah, you could have, on occasion. And I know, of course, as the book said, you always recognize when someone else is not listening, or maybe like when they perk up, in that way, selective listening. Like I've probably done that, where like, oh, now I'm interested because you said some topic that I'm interested in, and being on the receiving end of that, it's not a good feeling. So, the reasons for poor listening. Which reasons do you feel best describes why you may not be able to consistently practice the elements of listening? This is when I want to talk about the external noise. So, it's funny because just last night, got in an argument about this, and my partner had gotten mad at me. She was upset that I had asked her to repeat herself several times, but I honestly couldn't hear her. But she said that this happens often, and especially when we're in public. She thinks I'm kind of distracted by other things. My response was that, it's true, and I'm a lot taller than she is, so, and she kind of speaks softly, but she kind of just like says something right away, and I was kind of telling her like she would maybe touch my arm or say my name. Maybe I would turn my attention to her. But if we're kind of walking through a crowded place, I'm looking here and I'm hearing all kinds of different noises, other people's conversations, sounds, and then suddenly she kind of says a few things, and sometimes I'll miss like the first 2 or 3 words, and therefore I can't understand the sentence. And so we went from arguing to kind of discussing, and now, like, even after reading more about this, I hope we can talk about it and find a better way to communicate, and I can show her that I do care about what she's saying. It's just sometimes I don't hear her, so I ask her to repeat herself. But I should go because it's almost 4 minutes. Thank you. Goodbye.